Hey guys, Avros here, back again with the next Lufenia fight, which is the Arciela Swordmaiden Lufenia. So first off, we'll cover, as usual, the boss mechanics. So for this fight, you're up against two of the Erode Mantis. Their orb doesn't appear until they hit 79% HP with a 20 count, and then it is increased by dispelling any of their buffs to increase the count by 10 up to the maximum of 20. And good units for trying to make sure you can take care of that one. Obviously Arciela with her skill 1, the Ascension skill, does dispel all enemy buffs, sorry. So that'll take care of that one. You could also bring Beatrix LD if you've got it. I actually didn't get Beatrix's LD, so that wouldn't be an option for me. Or one option we have that wasn't available when this event was out in Japan is to use Balthier's LD and use that to cleanse all the debuffs on yourself, as well as using his snatch to get the buffs off the enemy, and that would count as dispelling them to get the 10 count. The reason why I said this wasn't really available in JP is they didn't have his LD, which makes a huge difference to his overall damage output. Without that, he would be rather lackluster for a Lufenia fight of this difficulty. Other things to know about the boss, they're immune to Paralyze debuffs, lock, so you can't really use any of the standard tanks with that one. And they're immune to their own Fluke debuffs that they'll put on you, so you can't use Yuffie to throw those back. The bosses, while they do buff themselves fairly regularly, it's not like they constantly do it. So if you're using Arciela or Beatrix, because they do dispel all of the enemy's buffs, you do need to be pretty careful about your timing when you do that, to make sure that you can get the count high enough till they get a chance to buff again, and for that character's turn to come back around to dispel the buffs. The other things to keep in mind, when the enemy gets the Grey Aura, they'll get the buff message saying that they're starving. They'll actually follow up that attack with Gluttony Sickle, which is a guaranteed AoE Brave plus HP attack, so it'll always hit, you can't dodge it, that will dispel all of your buffs. The Grey Aura only actually lasts for a single turn, so if you've got Arciela, you can use HP attack disable to get rid of that, because it'll disappear once they've had their turn and they won't actually do the attack. Alternatively, you could use something like Kefka for the HP disable as well. I actually did get hit by Gluttony Sickle in the fight at one point, and did dispel all my buffs right near the end, which was a possible risk of failing the encounter entirely, but managed to make it through. It also inflicts the flamed debuff Fluke, which they will also apply at certain periods throughout the fight. I think it's at the 79 and 49% HP mark when they get their large Brave gain to about 60,000 Brave or more. That's when they'll actually put that up. And that Fluke debuff, which I did mention before, you can't throw back with Yuffie, drops multiple of your stats and has a HP poison effect. So, you know, something you need to be aware of is to bring some healing to this fight. So Arciela again fills that niche quite well. And the last thing to keep in mind with these two bosses is when one of them does die, if you don't kill them at the same time, it will actually heal the other one for 550,000 HP and gain buffs on that one for max Brave, Eye Brave, and defense. So I actually ran into this as well at the end of the fight. Luckily had enough time with the number of turns left on that Erode Mantis to let it buff itself again and dispel it with Arciela to get the turns back up, and then just finish it off with the party that I brought. So, party composition for this one. Running back, Onion Knight again. He's really good, obviously being a synergy unit, very effective with this sort of thing. He's also very useful in this fight as he's a good DPS unit that brings some support elements in his kit as well. Specifically, one of the really powerful ones is his LD ability, giving free ability uses to other members of the party. So that'll let you use Arciela's C65 ability more than once to restore an ability use of both her abilities, as you can use that as the free use after Onion Knight passes a free ability to her with his LD. This will allow you, obviously, to, you know, recover those uses when you need them, and I actually did need to, right at the end of the fight, which you'll see when it gets there, to get another use of Ascension to dispel the buffs with the last one alive so that I didn't lose the fight entirely. Ramza is also here as well, another good supporting unit that does very good damage. He got switched out for Friend Ramza, which I also brought to, again, used the burst effect bonus from his burst weapon to increase Onion Knight's damage while his burst effect was up, as well as increasing the entire party's damage, of course. And lastly, I brought for my Dispeller and to bring some additional heals and the HP attack disable. Arciela, I did manage to get her LD, so that was the best choice for me for this one. Another alternative to Arciela, if you didn't have Balthier or Beatrix, of course, is to bring Cloud, preferably with his burst weapon if you're going to bring him, and then sort of shuffle up your party composition a bit. With his World of Illusion, CP15, I think they are for the World of Illusion ones. The passive from that, which does allow him to dispel a single buff, which will allow you to more effectively control the turn gain on the orbs on both bosses if you were to bring him. So that would be another option to bring there, instead of Arciela, Beatrix, or Balthier for dispelling the buffs on the enemies. Overall, this fight wasn't too bad. I guess the major sort of hints I would give for this one, if you're trying to emulate the team comp, is really need to keep an eye on the orb count. A few of the failed attempts I had on this one, I didn't keep a close eye on the orb, and then the enemy's got a turn, counted down the orb by 2, and then, yeah, there was a 0 count and just wiped the party, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, I need to pay more attention to that orb. So, made sure to pay very close attention in this run. Still came close a couple of times to the orb going off on both of the bosses and ending the whole fight again. That being said, yeah, just save control of the orb is the name of the game in this one, and making sure you bring enough damage to actually deal with the bosses in an effective manner. And if you come down to just one of them left, being able to get enough turns off without them doing too much to make sure that you can get rid of that last one before the orb counts down, or it kills you there. So that was sort of my strategy for this fight, and enjoy the rest of the video, and thank you for watching.
Sa, 行くよ。遅いね。やりたいよ。おしまい。まだまだ。僕に任せろ。これで。救済の光よ。消し飛んで。いけるぞ。せや。救済の光よ。消し飛んで。やっちゃうぞ。届くんだな。ミキサー。さあ、行くよ。えいだ。いけー。ここは譲れない。魂を引き出す。はあ。虚空を貫け。まだまだ。常世の闇よ。そこまでです。 さあ行くよ。魔力で勝負。もらった。天の裁きを。僕は臆病者だ。それでも参りまし。常世の闇よ。そこまでです。集いたまえ。魂を引き出す。虚空を貫け。やってやる。まだまだ。集いたまえ。魂を引き出す。はあ、虚空を貫け。まだまだ。やってやる。救済の光よ、消し飛んで。やってやる。救済の光よ、消し飛んで。さあ行くよ。遅いね。痛いよ。おしまい。魂を引き出す。はあ、虚空を貫け。まだまだ。やってやる。